Hi.
Oi, so they give access to their job portal, Geeks for free?
Yes, complimentary with the course.
And you got your job through that?
Me and 15,000 others across the world.
No way!
Oh, yes, Wiz. Don't delay. Enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
So, without any delay, I'm here with our today's session of interview preparation strategies. And for today's session, we have a professional with us whose name is Mr. Kuldeep Pista. He'll be here with us and he'll be sharing his experience with us. And his experience would be quite interesting because his journey is really different. Like we had other speakers. It is not unlike it's very different from the other speakers we had on our webinar. So yeah, it will be really interesting. Before that, I should greet you guys like hello, hi, how are you guys doing? Right, okay. uh nice. I am seeing already a lot of engagement in the comment section. I guess people are really excited about Mr. Kuldeep already. So perfect. So that's the best thing, right? We don't have to wait for anything and we can add him to the stream. So let's quickly add Mr. Pizda to the stream and we'll quickly begin with the webinar. Hi Kuldeep, how are you? Good evening.
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Aishwarya?
I'm also good. So Kuldeep, how is everything? How is everything around you?
Slowly, the
I'm
COVID
not asking
situation
about
is
the
getting better. So,
country, but yes, still your family or everything.
yeah, sort of. It's going good. Everyone is recovering, so it's good to see, things taking place and uh, things becoming better every day. So yeah, like every
Perfect.
day I open the newspaper just to see the the declination and the number of cases of COVID. So yeah, it is good. It
Yeah,
is good.
yeah. That's the basically we all hope the same thing right
Yeah.
these days.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Kuldeep, what I am guessing from the comment section that people already know you well, and but still for the other, for the other people who are new,
Yeah.
who doesn't know you, I would like you to just
Mm-hmm.
introduce yourself, that who Kuldeep is, and a bit of a technical background, and what did you do in your
Sure.
past experiences, everything. So we want to hear
Sure,
everything
sure, sure,
about you.
sure. So, my name is Kuldeep, as you all know. So, I am a computer science graduate from NIT Raipur. I have been a full stack developer for past couple of years. So initially, I was trying. So I'm an sort of an entrepreneur as well. had opted out from my placements and tried my hands on a lot of startups. I worked with a lot of people from across the globe as a freelancer, as a core team member, and likewise. So, but recently, I decided to, in order to grow my knowledge, I felt I need to work in some other places as well. I want to explore more. I want to explore the opportunities about I wanted to basically test my knowledge and skills. So I started looking for it, and I found one of such startup, that is Goldcast. So yeah, I was actually looking for such startups where I can work, where I can test my skills and knowledge, and I found one. So yeah, as of now, I am a backend developer at Goldcast. It is a streaming, it is a virtual event hosting platform. So this is sort of a bit introduction about me.
That's great. Perfect. So, without wasting any time, because
Hmm.
what I'm assuming right now that we'll be needing more time in the Q&A session because audience are really, audience really want to talk to you. So I'll just quickly wind up with my questions. So my
Sure.
next question for you is, like, we want to understand, like, can you please describe your interview rounds and share your strategy for
Sure.
each round of your interview?
Okay.
Please go ahead with that.
So yeah, sure. So one thing which was there with me, as I said, as an entrepreneur, so I was not good in touch with computer forward programming. But nowadays, if you're looking for a good role in in specifically in IT domain, so you must have a sort of good skill in competitive programming. So like when I took a break, I think I took a break of like 1 month or so, but I was doing startup, so I did not had a lot of time like working with CP. I used to do it in college, but since then I had just lost track. So this is not sort of like they have not paid me the money to say this, but to be honest, I actually looked into Gig for Gigs, and it actually helped me. Like right away when I decided like, that I want to like I'm looking for an opportunity in another startup, so I started looking for the interview questions that people had at Facebook, Amazon, Google, which was already there on Geek for Geeks. Also started preparing from Geek for Geeks and Lead Code. These were two of the main places where I started looking for. So yeah, computer programming is something that you must have. You must have a like sort of a minimum hand in data structures and algorithms and computer programming as a whole together. So I started preparing my competitive programming from these two platforms mainly, and I knew that I had a good hand with my projects, and like I have a good experience. The only place that I had to work was the competitive programming, because I had lost grip of it. I had not done any competitive programming. I had not set any code stuff like that. So in my interview round, like we had 3 rounds to be specific. One was the HR round, but I'm not counting that. I'm talking only about the technical round. So the first one was the pair programming session where the instructor actually gave me one problem in computer programming, and I had to share my screen and I had to write code side by side, and we discussed about a lot. And luckily those were like normal questions, normal sort of uh, the important thing about which how Geeks for Geeks actually helped me was once I started looking for the interview questions, I sort of found some sort of patterns, they ask about advanced binary search and sort of thing. So it actually helped me. I started looking more about it, and luckily the interview actually asked me similar question. So it was sort of, I think, sort of a luck factor which actually helped me. So yeah, he had I think I had around 3 to 4 computer programming questions, and we discussed about for I think more than an hour, and it was good. It was good. So I was confident that there is a good chance that I might get called for the next round. And the next round was with the CTO of the company. So in the second round we only discussed about projects and about the specifically for example they work in Django, so they were more looking into someone who can actually pick up the task and start get quickly get started with the tickets that they have. So I had a lot of projects in Django, so we started discussing about the Django and our experiences in a whole. So that was that was very pretty good round for me. I was I really enjoyed it. We were it did not feel like I'm actually interviewing, rather it felt more like that we're discussing our projects. We are like sort of buddies, and we are chatting about our experiences and
Nice.
the bugs that we had that we were stuck in. And so it was a pretty good round for me, and I did not know that I will have another round after it as well. So after the second technical round, we have another VP who had recently joined the company. So he also wanted to take one round of me. So the last round was
Yes.
again the competitive programming round, but again I said it was the questions were up to a similar with the questions with LinkedIn, Amazon, and Samsung. Sorry, Google, like that. So luckily I had seen similar questions, and I think it had been around probably 2 to 3 weeks. So I had got a bit idea about these are questions that they may ask, and these are the questions that they may not ask. And obviously it was third round, so I was expecting something big. And yeah, luckily again he happened to ask me similar questions which I had known, which I had worked on. So I quickly solved it, and then again we discussed about my experiences and what I had been doing till now, like that. So the third round was against the competitive programming round. So technically, I had in technical round. If we talk in terms of technical, then we had 3 rounds. One was the competitive programming. The second was more like project discussion and the sort of like a basically they wanted to evaluate how much I am aware about the tools and technologies that I had mentioned in my resume. So we talked about that in the second round, and again in the last round, again it was sort of a CP round plus they call it a like a sort of compatibility match sort of thing. So the third round was
Okay.
competitive plus sort of discussion about my goals and like that. So yeah, this was my rounds.
Okay, and we want to know that how did you prepare? So basically, we want to know there what was
Yeah.
the key
Okay.
what were the keys to every round? How
Sure,
did you
sure,
manage
sure.
to get
So
through that? Yeah,
okay, okay. So again, the competitive programming, I would say, if you are in a similar position as mine, then I will say before applying for jobs, probably take some break and work on your competitive programming skills, because it's something that because no matter how much experience you have, no matter how much projects you have made, if you don't have enough competitive programming knowledge, then they will not go with you further. So competitive programming is something that you can definitely pick up. And again, if you are lost with competitive programming for such long time, I'm not saying that I don't know competitive programming. I'm just saying that I was not in good touch with competitive programming because I was running startups and all like that. So I did not get enough time to work on it. So uh, it depends from person to person. For me, it did not take a lot of time. For me, it is more like if I read some algorithm, I can just implement it. So it was very easy for me just to understand the underlying patterns in various questions. Like nowadays, people you mostly ask about counting sort of questions, some advanced binary search sort of question and like that. So I searched in a lot of places. So initially, what I did was I again started doing competitive programming in Code Chef and Spoj and Lead Code. But I realized it's gonna take me a lot of time, and I did not wanted to spend a lot of time in those, because I realized like I'm sort of repeating the same thing again and again. So the best option for me was to go into Geeks for Geeks, start sort of analyzing the questions that people have already faced, and trying to solve them in my head. They're trying sort of writing pseudocodes for it, and then when I think that I have written the whole solution, then I try to match it with the solution. So that was one strategy that worked for me. It was sort of time saving for me because I did not have a lot of time between the interview. So that was one thing that I can say. But apart from it, one thing that I would say is be confident. Whenever interviewer asks question, what happens is we become afraid, and uh, like sort of we start stammering, and we basically mess the whole
yeah,
interview. So I did not wanted to do that again. It was a big gap for me. So when initially I actually faced the similar situation. So I was like, okay, I honestly tell the interviewer that I want to use pen and, so since this is a COVID situation, so all the interviews are mostly online. You're sitting in front of computer and giving interviews. So the thing is, I'm
yeah,
more comfortable with a pen and paper when I'm when I'm jotting down thoughts, when I'm working on some sort of ideas and like that. So though I'm writing codes on computer, pen and paper usually works for me. So whenever they ask me some
wow.
CP questions, I was like, okay, I want to use pen and paper. May I use it? So they were like, okay, yeah, you can definitely use it. And then I jot down my thoughts and started solving the problem. So be confident in till this specific level, that you are comfortable, you are able to properly communicate what you want. For example, this was one thing that is something that makes me comfortable when I'm working on some complex problem. So yeah, maybe just share the same with the interviewer, and probably it will be fun for you. So as I said, the second interview was like that. Again, the profile of the CTO was very hi-fi, and I was like, okay, man. Though I have worked in a lot of projects, there are still chances that I might mess it up. And often sometimes happen is you definitely know the answer, but
Yeah,
just because of the eagerness and because of the curiosity, and because of the stress at the specific moment, because of the anxiety, we often sort of mess the answer, and we give wrong answer. So at that time, the thing that worked for me was to pacing me down, pacing how I speak, because usually I'm a very fast speaker. So it was very important for me to slow down myself a bit, and then then okay, this is the question, okay, this is the answer, like that. So that sort of thing that worked for me. It was something that was personal to me, and I know definitely it is same with everyone. Like, they have some sort of a specific mindset when when they're trying to work on some problem, when they're working on something. So just like, just deliver the same to the interview, and I think that will be very, very grateful for you. So yeah, confidence is something that you must that you should have. The second thing was the patience that you should definitely have. And yeah, don't hesitate to ask silly questions. So for example, like, in some of the interviews, the interviewers asked several questions, and I was like, I know the answer, but I'm like, I got, like, it got jinxed up in my mind, and like, I was like, I know the answer, but I'm not getting how to approach it. For example, one of the, like, common question that everyone asks nowadays is like, to implement a LRU cache via any of the programming language. So I know the whole LRU cache algorithm. I know how to implement. But just when I was, when I was doing the same while pair programming, I happened to do some I happened to introduce some bugs in code, and I was sort of worried what to do now. I have been doing it for some quite some time, and like, I'm not able to do it. So again, I asked them sometime. I just said that I know it, but probably, like, that maybe because I'm sort of anxious, and like, my heartbeat is increasing, I'm doing some mistake. Please kindly allow me some more time, like, so that I can think on it and probably work on it. So that was one thing that definitely helped me, and it was really helpful for me. So yeah, whatever thing that is in your mind, just convey it to the interviewer, because similar thing actually happened with a very simple question. I knew the solution, I knew the exact solution, but in the process of explaining the answer to the interviewer, it got things up, and I lost the track. And sometimes it also happens that in some of the interviewers, like, they intentionally try to act weird, like, they sort of sometimes try to act like rude, very rude, like, they ask you something, you propose some solution, and they're like, yeah, sure, can do it like that. So sometimes they do it just to know your like, sort of behavior, how you approach things. For example, in a company, if you're working, like, there are times when there are a lot of disagreements between peers. Sometimes, like, the experienced peer may say that I have a lot of experience, how can you say that this is wrong, like that. So probably I read it, I googled about it, why they sort of, like, why they do it. So the common answer that which I get was like, they just want to analyze you, like, how you behave in specifically in that specific situation. So yeah, don't lose your calm, be patient, be confident, and ask clearly. Clarity is something which is the most underrated thing. So like,
Right.
if you even the question is very simple, and like, even if you are not able to even heard one sentence completely, just ask them to repeat it. They will be happy to they will be very, very happy to, like, repeat it to you. But if you, like, if you heard it wrong, and if you start working on something else which was definitely not asked, so it will be like, waste of time for both of you. So these are some simple things that I feel you should have in your mind while you're like, while you're giving your interview. So yeah, that's all my side.
Okay. So, also, like you have also shared with me, like, and you have also mentioned that you came into this process after you had your own company,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, we want to know that experience as well, because when we were talking
yeah.
previously, you were like that there were interviewer
Mhm.
and interviewee, clashes
Yeah.
while
Yes,
understanding
yes,
your
yes,
work experience.
yes, yes,
So,
yes,
we
yes.
want to know all about it. So, please
Okay.
highlight those that factor as well.
Sure. So one thing which helped me in this whole interview process was like, while I was doing my startup, I was the interviewer who actually used to take interviews for, like, for interns or for full time roles. So like, because I can relate with the person who is actually sitting in front of me, so I knew probably that, like, these are the exact things that probably a recruiter might have in his mind, because I too have done it several times. So that was one thing. So again, since you might not be, like, sort of in a similar position as mine, so what you can do is, like, just try to put yourself in just basically try to put yourself in the shoes of the interviewer, probably. Then, like, and try asking the same question, assuming that, like, there's someone sitting in front of you and who's trying to answer you the question. So that way probably your way of delivering the answer, your way of asking the question for clarity probably will become better. And apart from it, as we mentioned, that as I was I was working in startups, mostly early. So uh, I have experience, it is there in resume. But the one thing that they ask usually about is what is your, just tell us about the salary slip. So they are all pleased with the interview. We are done with the processes, but they're like, now just tell us the salary slip. We will give you an increment of 33% based on your past salary slip. So I was like, I did not had that. And obviously, in an early startup, usually the things are not legalized at that extent.
Right.
So where where people give you salary slips and fixed salary. And since being especially if you are a core team member, usually you don't take fixed salary. You majorly
Yeah, it
it
depends.
depends on,
Yeah.
yes, how much the company is earning, and based on that we put something for the company, and we take something from the company as an stipend like that. So that was one thing that was very hard to explain. Usually luckily this was not the case with the Goldcast people, because they were an early startup. And the moment I told them that these are the reason I don't have the salaries, they were like very very happy. And the HR they actually related to me, they actually related to me in this thing a lot. So yeah, a lot of people actually did not relate it to me. They were like, after explaining this whole situation for about 20 minutes, again after 20 minutes they were like, oh, it was more like, that you have watched the whole Ramayana, and they are like, Ram and Sita were brothers and sisters. So it was the same situation for me when I tried to explain those things to them. But luckily some of the in some of the startups, who had just started, and who actually could actually relate with me, they actually appreciated it. And in some of the companies, they actually tried to give me an edge as well. For example, in some of the startups, they were looking for some senior position. They were looking to hire some senior people. But the HR told me that we usually don't hire who had just graduated last year, but because of your experience we would like to give you an opportunity. So in some of the companies it was in some of the places they actually appreciated it. In some of them they were like, it is nothing. They treated it more like a, it was sort of your pet project and like that. But I told them explicitly that these are live projects, the government is using, the enterprises are using it. And they were like, no, these are some of your pet projects, and we won't understand, we won't take it, we won't consider it like that. So yeah, again, one thing that I would say is try to be as clear as possible. Try to explain them to the extent you can explain to them, because I had to in the mostly in the first HR call that I had to explain this for like 15 to 30 minutes. And they're like, okay, now after after investing this much time, they're like, okay, now we got, why do you don't have a salary slip? So then they ask about, okay, now tell us what is your expectation and like that. So yeah, this things happens. This thing actually happens in reality. So you must be prepared for these things. So yeah, be prepared for anything and try to do your best. That's one thing that I would say.
Okay. Now, moving forward, I want to understand, like, with as you come with a lot of lot of different experiences, I really would like to know about your take on the role of freelancing in college days. So you
Definitely.
wanted, or you also wanted to discuss about it. So
Yeah.
let's discuss about it. Because
Sure.
I have seen, because usually students don't do freelancing, but they are majorly into projects and internships and
Yeah.
everything. Obviously, these things are also necessary, but this is a very good topic that we can pick up right now. And thanks
Sure.
all thanks to you. So let's start
Sure.
with this
Sure.
topic.
So, as I said, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to have my own company like that. So, I started when I started working on my ideas. I started pitching at some of the incubators in the country. I got accepted till one round, and but after some of the interviews, they rejected me, and they told me it was just my first year of college, and they told me that your idea is good, your plan is good, but you're just not capable to implement those things that you have mentioned it. So earlier, when I was pitching, anyone who is working, actually wants to work in their own idea can relate to it. In the initially, we have thought that, hey man, we can easily build this. It is a sort of we will start working on it, and in a matter of some days we will just build the whole product like that. So I too had the similar thought, and I started working for it. But after this rejection, I actually realized myself honestly that okay, that the person who told me that I don't have the capability to build it has a lot of experience, has a lot of has a lot of industry experience, and if he's saying that I cannot build it, then probably it might be right. And let's put my ego aside and try to actually start working on it. So since then I started working with startups, mostly of our seniors who had recently set up their own company. So it was one of the great places to do internship and at the same time learn as well. So that was my first exposure to building projects and actually deploying it in the real life. But after that, after I was done with the internship, I was like, I want to do a lot of things on my own. For example, when you work on some of the projects that already exist. So usually you work on either integrating some of the features, or you either work on adding some of the new features, fixing bugs, and all lot of those things are there, which you usually do. But I was more like, I want to be the person who, if I'm given a task to build Facebook, I can just think in my head that yeah, these are the databases, this should be the flow of the program, like that. So
Yeah.
uh, that's one of the things that actually motivated me, and I wanted to work alone, in such sort of things. So I started looking for it. I tried to do one of the startup with some people, but luckily they they left me, and like that basically something happened which did not work. So uh, I was going through a lot of things, and I was searching how to do, and then luckily I got so I don't know why, what uh, probably you some of you might relate as well. Whenever we have something in our head, we and if you open Facebook or Instagram, usually it appears as an ad on there on this those platforms. So like that, I happened to found about freelancer.com or Upworks, like that. So I started exploring, because usually the ads are very intuitive, and you can, if you see it, you will
Right.
definitely check it out, like that. So I checked it out, and it felt like a very good opportunity for me. From two perspective, one was I can take the full responsibility of what I'm building, and others at actually three things. Secondly was I don't have to be physically present over there in that specific place. I can work after my college, like that. So the third was okay, first, second. Okay, I think I missed the third one.
मुझे लगा
Third one
third
was
one is
third,
money.
yes, definitely. The third one is company. When you're working in college, I wanted something. I wanted to be independent. Because I wanted to take a lot of courses just because of this reason. Because I wanted to increase the span of my knowledge. So I wanted to do a lot of courses on Udemy or Udacity or edX or a lot of such places. So at the time I did not want it, because at that, usually when we enter college, we're sort of an adult. We are around 18 to 20 of age, in terms of age. So I was I have still reached my 20s, and if I'm not able to buy a simple course which just costs a few bucks, then what I'm doing till now, like that. So that was one of the that was also one of the motivating factor for me to start digging in some of those
Right.
things. And that's how I started my freelance journey. And uh, I was very I was sort of very obedient with what I was doing, because I wanted to build great things, like that. It was one of my motives to if I'm doing anything, just do it great. So yeah, that's what motivated me to look for such opportunities. And freelancing actually happens to fit that specific criteria, where I can use my technical skills and start building it. So initially, again, you will get a lot of rejections, because you are a newbie. No one is gonna trust you, when no one is gonna trust you when you are just starting up, because no one wants to put away in something which has literally no credibility. So initially, in first year, I could not get any of the projects by freelancer or Upworks. Rather, mostly the freelance project that I got was mostly offline. So what I used to do was, I after doing the projects, I in both the platform, there is a feature you can ask for reviews for external projects which did not happen by the platform. So I started putting those things in my profile, and that's how I got I started actually started got getting inbound calls for the projects, like that. So and it actually definitely helped me in in the startup I was working with, in the product that I was building with, as well as it is also helping me in in the current company in which I am working with. So definitely freelancing is something that a lot of people appreciate. One of the interview actually told me specifically, we shortlisted your profile only because you had done a lot of things while being in college. You try to explore freelancing, you try to do a startup, you try to build something of your own. So some I'm sure sometimes a lot of people, a lot of interviewers would want that you have a thrill to work on something that you definitely want to. So uh, after this they wanted one more question, that how did you manage the college, the freelance project or startup that you are working on. So when I used to explain them, they were like, okay, they were no sort of very happy after listening to the explanations, and they were like, okay, we like you. We had a very good conversation like that. So even in one of the interviewer told me that we have a range of the job that you have applied as of now has a package of 8 LPA, but I specifically don't think that I specifically feel that you are worth more than it. So he told me that I would, though you are a very good candidate, but I would not like you to join our company just because you won't be paid well as per your knowledge. So that was one of the blown away thing for me. And he actually
Okay.
I don't know how he told me, but he actually told me a range, that this is the range that you should look for. And somehow things got connected, and the final package that I got was exactly in that specific range. That was 2 to 3 times of what they were offering. So he actually told me, when we are talking of the after the interview, he told me that interview is over, I want to just chat with you. It was very good, nice talking with you. So he told me you just keep doing it, and look in this specific range, because I think you are worth than that. And in the company that I'm working with, I don't know how they got to know that specific range, but they gave me the offer in that range. So yeah, be clear, be patient, and I think it will do good for you.
Cool. So that was here. My questions end, and as we are already ahead of the time limit, so I'll
Yeah.
quickly pick up the questions. I would request our audience to drop in their questions and queries in the comment section. I'll pick up the questions, and Kuldeep will help you in your queries. But yes, we'll pick up very few queries only, as I've mentioned that we are running out of time. So, guys, just quickly drop in your comments and we take it one by one.
So I
So,
can see
let's
one
start with
question.
Amrita.
Sure.
What's the one mistake you made that you want others to avoid in your career till now?
So the one thing that I would say is I really did not like the college academics. I was never interested in reading those things, because I was interested in web development and all those sort of things, but which was not there. And just because of this reason, I probably did not focus a lot on my career, a lot on my academics. That is one thing that probably I feel is one of my mistakes. I used to blame that the education system is so outdated, because they are, obviously, but still the people who have designed the syllabus, they have kept these things in mind. So instead of complaining, just do just just do it. Just do it. Just think that you have to do it, and just do it, because you don't know how those things are going to actually help you. So
Yeah.
it actually happened in a lot of projects. For example, I read something in my third year. I just forget about the semester, and when I was working in some of the projects, I happened to realize that, oh, this was a topic that I had read in college. So I had to again reread it like that. So that is one thing that I would say. That whatever thing that is there in front of you, just try to put just try to do the best that you can, instead of complaining. So probably you can take the best from it. So yeah, that is one thing. Instead of complaining, just do it.
Okay. Next question we'll pick up from Samvek. He's asking, Kuldeep sir, I'm looking for a job, but I have a low CGPA. What is the role of CGPA in getting hired?
Okay, I am a very good example sitting in front of you. Okay, I have a 7 point something CGPA, but I'm still having the best package in among my classmates. So one thing that I would say is focus on building skills and experiences. Usually, in all the interviews that I gave, no one asked me about my college or my about my CGPA. Like, in my, even in my resume, like, in one of the corner, I had put it in very small fonts because I'm not proud of it. First of all, it looks bad. So yeah, but luckily no one asked me about it. So one thing that I can say is, like, if you are looking to fund, like, sort of some MNCs, like, some Samsung or some similar companies who actually look for CGPA. So if you're aiming for those things, then probably have a minimum, like, they probably ask for 8.5, like, on 10. So just try to maintain it. But usually in startups, or like, in now in, like, most tech companies, they don't care about, they don't look for your CGPA grades. Rather, what they look for is, like, the skills, the competitive programming skill that you have, the development skill that you bring to the company. So that is one thing that you would say. So like, just to hide, like, that specific grade in of my college, I have a lot of experiences. So, like, when they look in at your resume, and when they find, like, that he has done a lot of internships and he has a lot of projects who are lecture life, they probably won't care about the grades. So, like,
Okay.
one thing, if you are, like, sort of generalizing it, so do your best in whatever you're doing. If you're doing your academics, do the best in it. If you are doing a development, do the best in it. So that, like, the other part basically sort of compensates the other falling. So yeah, you can definitely get it. College and low CGPA actually does not matter nowadays. Like, no one looks for it. They just want your adaptability and sort of a, like, good characteristics like that. So yeah.
Okay, so actually, I'm going to end up the Q&A session here only because we are far ahead of the time, so we have to cut short it.
Sure.
So, but I am pretty sure that our viewers have got a very knowledgeable insight from the rest of the section, because you
Mhm.
have explained each and every answer in a very elaborated manner, and I can see in the comments people are relating to it and they are really happy knowing those factors. So thank you so much, Kuldeep, for conducting
Sure.
this session for us and being here with us at in our
Sure.
webinar series. I
Yeah.
thank you from our audience behalf and from Geeks for Geeks and from my side. I hope that you enjoyed the session.
Sure, definitely. I do enjoy talking about, like, these things, and actually I always love talking about these things. So yeah, I enjoyed it as well.
Okay, so thank you so much, Kuldeep, and all the best, all the very best to you.
Sure.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, guys, that was it. That was our today's session. As I've already said, that today's session is going to be really different from our other sessions because our candidate was really different this time. He has very different background. So I hope that you enjoyed the session. I hope you have jotted down all the important points, and you have got really useful insight from this session. So yeah, I will again say that keep learning. Don't stop here. We have just raise your bars. And also another thing related to the feedback and the content. I say it every time, I'm saying it again, that if you want us to add anything in the content, if we can help you in your interview preparation in any way through our content, just let us know that what kind of content you want to prepare for your to prepare for your interviews. We'll try our best. If you want some particular webinar on some particular subject, so subject as in some particular topic, so you can just send that topic to us. You can suggest that topic to us as well. You can send your suggestions or feedback to ashwara.singh@geeksforgeeks.org with a subject line suggestions for webinar or a feedback for webinar. And yeah, we'll go through it. We'll try our best to make those available for you, that content, those webinars for you. Till then, just stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Keep checking our events page. And if you want to, be a part of our series, there is a link in the description below of a form. You can just fill that form, and you can also be a part of our webinar series. And yeah, maybe who knows, you are the next one who will be sharing his or her experience. So that's it. So okay, see you soon, and yeah, all the best. Good night. Bye.